welcome. I'm Ananya Datta and you're watching Race to Power, a show where we talk about everything elections. Coming up in this broadcast, India is in the middle of its national elections. At a time as critical as this, the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has made a controversial speech. He referred to the Muslims in India as infiltrators. The opposition has come down heavily, but the Election Commission has chose to stay silent. In the United States now, Donald Trump is back in the court. It's his first criminal trial of the many. People who once were his close aides are now turning their backs on him. Our correspondent Susan Tehrani tells you what to expect from today. The second phase of India's Lok Sabha elections is just 2 days away. Campaigning is in full swing as voters in the largest democracy exercise their right. But amid election fever, opposition parties of the India bloc have raised an alarm over Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's hate speech. Before we take the story further, listen into an excerpt from the Prime Minister's speech during a rally in Rajasthan on Sunday, where he referred to Muslims in India as infiltrators.
ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे। घुसपैठियों को बांटेंगे। क्या आपकी मेहनत की कमाई का पैसा घुसपैठियों को दिया जाएगा?
The opposition Congress party has filed a complaint with the Election Commission of India, seeking action against Prime Minister Modi's remarks on April 22nd. The opposition has labelled the BJP leader's comments as, and I'm quoting here, divisive, malicious and targeting a particular religious community.
Prime Minister brazenly lies. The Prime Minister speaks half-truth and full lies. The Prime Minister rants communal sentences.
Other leaders from opposition India bloc have also expressed outrage over the controversial speech. Opposition parties such as CPIM and CPML have also demanded action from the EC, including a ban on campaigning.
भाषा का इस्तेमाल करना, इस तरह की बात करना हमारे लोकतंत्र को कमज़ोर करता है। जो संविधान है, जो इलेक्शन कमीशन है, इन चीज़ों पर रोक लगाता है।
Now, expectedly, leaders from the ruling party defended the Prime Minister's remarks.
सब आप जानते हैं, रिकॉर्ड होता है। इसका जवाब मोदी जी भी दे चुके हैं, हम लोग भी दे चुके हैं। इस पे कोई फिक्र न करें।
Thousands of Indian citizens have signed letters to the Election Commission expressing concern over the quote-unquote inciteful undertone of Modi's speech. A letter initiated by a rights group called Citizens Movement to Save the Constitution has collected over 17,421 signatures and submitted the letter to Election Commission seeking appropriate action. Let's shift focus now to Uttar Pradesh. After the first phase, where its 8 Lok Sabha seats went to polls, the state is gearing up for the next leg on the 26th of April. There is a popular belief in India that whichever party emerges victorious in this state of Uttar Pradesh, they end up forming the government at the centre. Our special correspondent, Johan Castile, travelled to the Lok Sabha constituency of Mathura to ask who will it be this time.
The northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh is the most populated and the 4th largest Indian state by area. A politically crucial state that sends as many as 80 members to the Lok Sabha. A key constituency here is the Mathura Lok Sabha constituency, which covers the entire Mathura district. It is renowned the world over as a major tourist attraction, owing to its revered status as the birthplace of the Hindu god Lord Krishna, and for its unique holy celebrations. Our first stop is at the Prem Mandir in the holy town of Vrindavan. The grand love temple dedicated to Lord Krishna and Radha was built over 11 years at an approximate cost of 100 crore rupees or $11.9 million.
We are on the streets of Vrindavan right now in front of the Prem Mandir. We are here to find out what people think about the upcoming election.
I think BJP has a very high chance of winning this election.
It's one-sided. It's pretty much one-sided competition.
I think BJP will be winner.
Every year during Holi, the festival of colors, the streets of Mathura, Vrindavan and Barsana are filled with people celebrating with great fanfare. It's a riot of colors. Will we get to see the same enthusiasm during elections?
So I'm here in front of the Banki Bihari temple and I found Gopal. Gopal, who do you think is going to win in this election?
BJP. No strong leader in front of them. Modi have good face for BJP. I think they can win.
Employment scenario in India is not quite, I think, up there with people's expectations. So that is my main point of consideration at the moment, because in India, there are a lot of youth and they need jobs.
Though rising unemployment emerged as a recurrent theme during our travel, a sense of pride in India's stature on the global stage is also evident.
With BJP, the global reputation of India has really, seen an upwards rise. As you can see, it's a stronghold with its relationships with Russia.
We then move to Mathura city.
In each state also BJP supporters are more.
Yeah.
Like in Mathura, everyone mostly supports Yogi Adityanath.
Yeah.
So I think BJP will be winner.
Politically, Mathura has emerged as a BJP stronghold in recent years. Veteran actor turned politician Hema Malini won consecutive elections in 2014 and 2019 on a BJP ticket and is looking to score a hat-trick. She is facing opposition from Mukesh Dangar of the Congress Party and Suresh Singh of the Bahujan Samaj Party. Will Mathura, in sync with its history, defy conventional political norms and throw a surprise? In the last general election held in 2019, Bharatiya Janata Party garnered 62 seats and its ally Apna Dal won 2 seats, whereas the opposition, the Bahujan Samaj Party, won 10. The Samajwadi Party won 5, and Congress got just 1 seat, credited to Sonia Gandhi, who won from Rai Bareli. Uttar Pradesh, along with Bihar and West Bengal, are the only states where the 2024 Indian general election will be held in all 7 phases. It's summer season. The mercury is rising, along with the political barometer.
Let's shift focus now and talk about the race to White House. Months ahead of US presidential elections, the streets of America are witnessing nationwide protests on not one, but 2 major issues that are also on the ballot this time. On one hand, we have rallies for abortion rights. On the other hand, thousands are protesting US's foreign policy towards Israel. And in the middle of it is Joe Biden. Before we break down Biden's political dilemma, take a look at these visuals from the Big Apple, where pro-Palestinian protests have rocked New York University and Columbia University. Police has arrested hundreds from across campuses as the administration resorts to classes in hybrid mode till tensions de-escalate. Similar demonstrations were also seen at Yale University in Connecticut. Students across universities have set up camps demanding their educational institutions divest from Israel-linked military weapons manufacturers. US President Joe Biden has faced severe flack for his unwavering support to Israel as the West Asian country continues to blanket bomb Gaza for more than 6 months now, killing over 34,000 Palestinians in the enclave. Analysts say that the mounting criticism against the incumbent can have an impact on his vote share, especially in swing states where votes of the Arab Muslim community can swing the mandate. While the humanitarian crisis of Gaza has been a global issue since October last year, there is also trouble brewing at home, a crisis of a different kind which has divided the people of US since 2022. Abortion and the great pro-life versus pro-choice debate. Ever since the US Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 2 years ago, protests from supporters and critics have made headlines time and again. Pro-life Republicans are in favor of implementing a blanket ban on abortion with some exceptions. The left-leaning Democrats, on the other hand, have shouldered their election campaign on promises to establish rights to get an abortion. In several states, including Florida and Arizona, abortion rights are slated to be on the ballot in November. Citizens will cast their vote to decide what the state's laws on abortion should be. And there is no doubt that the Democrats' camp, led by Joe Biden, will put out all the stops to capitalize on the party's stand in support for abortion rights. But these two contrasting scenarios for the US president raises critical questions.
It's time for the speakers and some of my Republican friends in Congress for blocking this bill to show us.
Now, to take this further, we are being joined by Jonah Blank. Mr. Blank is a former foreign policy advisor to President Joe Biden and also a senior journalist and author. Mr. Blank, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Now, currently there are two hot debates going on. One is, of course, the abortion debate. The other is the US's foreign policy towards Israel has come under question. Now, the polls we have been tracking show that the abortion debate is somewhat favoring Joe Biden, but at the same time, what's happening in Gaza is also in a way impacting adversely to the blue camp. I want to ask you, how do you assess this push and pull just 7 months before elections?
Yes, well, thank you for having me. These are probably the two major issues on the Democratic side. There are several others on the Republican side, and they affect overlapping constituencies. So the abortion question is almost certainly going to be the most important one for Democrats, because after the Supreme Court's ruling, there's a very good chance that any Republican administration that Donald Trump might head would severely restrict abortion throughout the whole country, not merely for those states where Republican governors and legislatures have already placed severe restrictions on it. Separate from that is the issue of Gaza, where a coalition of Democratic bases, Arab voters, Arab American voters, Muslim voters, progressives, younger voters, people who are very concerned about human rights, are very agitated about President Biden's response, which they feel it really has not taken account of Palestinian identity and safety and humanity the way they wish. The crucial thing here is that these two constituencies are not the same. President Biden has already lost a great number of Arab American voters, Muslim voters, who are never coming back. And progressive voters are alienated by his policy in Gaza, but very much on his side for abortion.
All right, Mr. Blank, thank you so much for getting all those insights from Washington, D.C.
Thank you.
All right, time for a short break now. We will be coming back, and when we come back, we will tell you where former US President Donald Trump's hush money trial is set to resume. Stay tuned.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome back. You're watching Race to Power with me, Ananya Datta. Now, Donald Trump's first criminal trial will resume shortly. The case is being called the hush money payment trial, but it is to do with influencing the 2016 election results. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts. Before the trial resumes, judge is going to hold a separate hearing. The district attorney's office brought a motion to sanction Trump for violating the judge's gag order. Trump has been accused of discussing the witnesses. It has been proposed that Trump should pay a $1,000 fine for every gag order violation. Just yesterday, the prosecutors and defense made their opening statements. Two statements stood out from each side. Let's start with the prosecutors. They said, and I'm quoting here, "The catch and kill scheme had Trump's blessings. It buried negative stories before the 2016 presidential election in a bid to influence the outcome," unquote. Now, this catch and kill scheme here is a reference to David Pecker. He was the president of National Enquirer, an American tabloid newspaper. Prosecutors are alleging that the two were actively working together to influence the election outcome. For instance, AMI would publish flattering stories about Trump and kill negative stories that could harm his campaign. Yesterday, Pecker was the first witness to take the stand against Trump. Coming to the defense now, Trump's attorney said, and I'm quoting again, "There's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. It's called democracy." The entire trial is about Trump hiding and falsifying documents to influence the voters. Defense attorney categorically denied this allegation, but he did not dispute that the paper trail existed. He argued to the jury that there was nothing illegal about signing non-disclosure agreements, which is true. The hush money is not illegal in the United States. Trump had an affair with porn actress Stormy Daniels in the year 2006. To keep it a secret, Trump paid Daniels a sum of $130,000 US. This is not the crime. The crime Trump has been accused of is falsifying documents to hide this transaction. All this before the 2016 presidential elections. The case is historic because it is the first time in US history that a former president is facing a criminal trial. The entire process can take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to finish. And if convicted, Trump could be sentenced to 4 years in prison. Now, just hours after the United Kingdom passed its migrant deportation bill, at least 5 people, including a child, have died while crossing the English Channel. About 110 migrants were crowded onto this small boat when the incident occurred. Search and rescue operations are still ongoing. Officials say that this has been a busy morning for emergency services with several crossing attempts. The English Channel is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes and the currents are strong. Migrants trying to cross it face turbulent weather and frequent drownings and often deadly incidents. Most of the boats that operate are small and overcrowded. There was a greater rush to cross the channel this morning after Britain's upper house of the Parliament passed the Rwanda plan. The legislation will allow the UK government to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. The bill was fiercely criticised by opposition parties, but after several debates, members of the House of Lords dropped their objections to it. Migrant advocates have, however, vowed to continue the fight against the plan. The UN has also urged Britain to reconsider the deportation bill, warning that it will have a harmful impact on global responsibility sharing, human rights and refugee protection. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said that the flights to Rwanda will take off within 10 to 12 weeks, but departures could still be held up in the courts or by delays in securing airplanes that asylum seekers would travel on. Sunak hopes the new legislation will boost his 2024 bid and help him fulfill his Stop the Boats pledge in an election year. Let's shift focus now. Venezuela's highest court has handed over control of a main opposition party to a leader who was expelled by the party. For the second time in 4 years, the country's Supreme Court of Justice has ordered a restructuring of the opposition party, Primero Justicia. Now, the decision comes just months ahead of the Venezuelan presidential elections scheduled for July. The court has appointed a provisional board of directors chaired by Jose Brito. In the past, Brito has been branded by the opposition party as a collaborator of President Nicolas Maduro's government. According to local press, he was expelled from the party after a 2019 report linked him to alleged acts of corruption. After the decision, the party president said that the government sends shameful puppets to believe that they can assume the leadership of a party.
The first thing I want to say is that this sentence simply ratifies the absence of the rule of law in our country, ratifies the absence of separation of powers in our country, and ratifies the terrible fear that Nicolas Maduro has of the elections scheduled for July 28th of this year.
And with that, we are wrapping up this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching with me, Ananya Datta. Goodbye.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at wion.com.
The biggest democratic exercise on the planet ever. Decoding the multiple colors of this multi-dimensional, multi-layered spectacle. WION deciphers the images and the hues. Sifts real performance from rhetoric and noise, claims and counterclaims, populist pitches and hidden truths. Untangling, unraveling this celebration of democracy.
Anarchy unfolds across US college campuses. Pro-Palestinian protesters hold a US education system to ransom. Anti-Semitism peaks. Universities can't guarantee Jewish professors and students safety. Biden condemns anti-Semitic protests. Police begin making arrests in Yale and NYU. Mass arrests and online classes. Pro-Palestine protests sweep US college campuses.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
This is WION World is One. We are glad you're watching. I'm Eric Njoka. Time now for WION Fine Print, the headlines. The Israel-Hamas war is on its 200th day, with fears mounting of an Israeli invasion in the overcrowded south of the besieged Gaza Strip amid calls for hostage release. After hearing from prosecutors and Donald Trump's attorneys, Judge Juan Machen says he's reserving a decision on the gag order violations. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announces Britain will gradually boost its defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2030. The announcement came during a visit to Poland. The UK readies to start detaining migrants within days for deportation to Rwanda after the controversial plan got Parliament's approval, sparking outrage from the United Nations and rights groups. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken embarks on a high-stakes trip to China to bolster ties and also share Washington's concerns over Beijing's support for Russian military. While number one